Hi guys, I'm Kori Propst, Wellness Director and Vice President of the Diet Doc, Dr. Joe's partner in crime, Callan's colleague, and dare I say, Dr. Helms's future friend. Anyway, I'm excited to be here. This is a very cool event that Callan has organized, and so by now, all of you have rubbed elbows with the father of flexible dieting himself, right? And how exciting to be learning from Dr. Helms and Callan. I want to take just a little bit of time to thank you for organizing such a special event and for all of your expertise and care, you know, as you bring your clients and the participants of this fitness camp your best. So thank you for that. But let's dig in, shall we? I have 20 minutes and I want to make the most of those 20 minutes for you guys. So today, what I'm going to share with you are 4 methods for mastering the madness that can often invade our minds, right? I'm calling this talk, How Not to Lose Your Mind, 4 methods for mastering the madness. Now, all of you guys have goals. You know, you're striving to pursue them with the greatest level of persistence, of tenacity, and you want high level, high performance, heightened and sustained motivation, right? As much as possible. So I also know that you want to avoid mistakes as often as possible as well. But my hope is that you recognize that it's through the mistakes and through the failures that you get to that point of success. Okay, success is at the top of mountains of mistakes. We need those. They're fertile ground, okay, for learning how to become our best selves. Now, what do we do though when we find ourselves mired in negativity, in that just negative space of self-doubt, contemplating perhaps giving up? I received an email today and my client said, you know what, I feel like I'm on a pendulum. I came back from my trip feeling really confident at 134. This woman is working on losing fat. And now today I stand on the scale and I'm 136 after putting every piece of the plan in place and doing everything perfect. And now I feel like giving up. Yes, she is. She's on this roller coaster of extreme. So what do we do when we're in that place? Or if we're even just wondering what actions we can take to shift that energy, you know, to a better space when we feel like our mojo is slow-mo. Okay, we all want to know this stuff. Now, first, I think we need to define what mastery really is, because it's what all of you are gearing up for, right? It's you want to become masters of your mind, masters of your craft, masters of your goal, the outcome. So what does it really mean? Well, I'll say this, mastery is not the meeting of the goal, okay? Because all of you have encountered this feeling where you reach that outcome, you reach the pinnacle, the thing that you said was most important, and then automatically, where are you? You go to, well, now what? You're ready to move on to the next thing, okay? So as humans, when we accomplish something, we move on pretty quickly. That's important, an important piece to remember as we think about mastery. So if we know this, and we want to be able to pursue our goals, like I said, with the highest level of motivation we can, and we know that motivation is going to wax and wane throughout the journey, then we have to look at mastery not as an outcome, but as a process. And so here is how I look at mastery. I look at mastery as an expansion of our vision, all right? I look at it as a way in which we develop our character, our identities. I look at it as a way of stepping into opportunities, as adapting so that we can grow into what's called a coherent identity. That's an identity in which we can stand with trust that what we're doing makes sense, okay? And then I look at it as a stretching from where we are right now, our current capacities, into the future possibilities. Okay, it's bridging a gap. Now, here's what I'm proposing. I'm proposing that no matter what your goal is, okay, you will avoid losing your mind if you approach whatever you do as a practice, okay? And this is a practice in becoming the best, the coolest human being you could. I want you to become a pretty cool human. Each one of you already is, but I want you to feel it in every fiber of your being, okay? I think if we focus on becoming a human of integrity, right, not losing our minds becomes easier. It almost becomes a non-issue, all right? So our focus, as someone quoted, and I don't know who said this, is that mastery is in the reaching, okay, not the arriving. So if mastery is a process of reaching, of bridging, okay, if it's a process of becoming, then let's talk about how we do that. Let's talk about how we practice mastery. I'm going to give you 4 ways. The number one way that we practice not losing our minds through mastery is, surprise, practice. Okay, I am suggesting that we need to play life as a practice ground. Okay, yeah. we get to. This is not about have to or need to or shoulds. We get to approach everything we do, this life, as a classroom, all right? And as I'm sharing this information with you guys, I'm practicing articulating this information in such a way that it's understandable for you. I'm practicing not getting lost in my own thoughts about the material that I'm presenting and what I look like and how silly I may sound, right? I want the material to flow organically. And then I'm practicing a bit of storytelling. You know, I told you about my client. I'm going to use examples like that to bring the information to life. For me, part of this is practicing being a better presenter. I am using my life experiences as practice in becoming better at my craft, okay, at what ignites me, at what gets me going every day, at what's meaningful to me. So life as a practice ground, that's your number one thing. Now, when something happens in our lives that we don't like or that we would call not ideal, right? Viewing the event as an opportunity for practicing a more effective approach or a response can help us move forward as opposed to backward or just feeling stunted and feeling stuck like we're spinning our wheels or just going through the motions. We can view life as happening for us as opposed to happening to us, okay? Now, when we view as life happening to us, what happens? We're sucked into this vortex of choicelessness, okay? We feel like we're backed into a corner. And when that happens, we don't perceive in our minds that we have any other way to turn, that there are any alternatives, all right? We flip out. We can't concentrate. We either get super rigid and staunch and we don't want to move, or we get really chaotic and bent out of shape, okay? We literally flip our lids. Now, how many of you who are dieting currently have eaten something that was not on your plan or that took you over your macros in some way? Okay, I can't see you out there right now, but I want you to raise your hand if you've ever had that experience before. Now, when that's happened, okay, what's your next step? How do you behave? Do you freak out a bit and do you say, what the hell? Like, I've screwed up the entire day anyway, so I might as well just eat whatever and I'll start again tomorrow, or I'll just start again on Monday, like fresh week, right? Or Do you crack down on yourself and say, like, you know what? I'm just going to exercise twice as much tomorrow, and I'm not going to eat any carbs for the day. Maybe you've tried both choices. How well did either one of them work out for you is my big question. Now you're seeing that either way, you know, you were caught in this space of anxiety, you were caught in this space of feeling like you were helpless, and you reacted, okay? You didn't respond in a calm, let's see what our choices really are here sort of a manner. The thing to remember is that you weren't actually helpless, and that's what responding is all about. It's getting out of the threat mode so you can think more clearly and come up with the alternatives and see the opportunities. Now, more choices are always present, guys. We may not like the choices that we have, but we always do have choices if we allow ourselves to breathe and to take that pause, a breath or two. That's how we get to that pause. And we offer ourselves some level of compassion. Okay. Now, we can practice pausing, we can practice that breathing, and then we can practice offering ourselves compassion, those three things, all in the name of using this life as practice for more powerful, effective responses toward becoming what? Toward becoming that person of integrity, towards developing our identity, towards that expansion of opportunity. And we view the circumstances as that path to our potential, okay? Now, as athletes and pursuers of fitness goals, that's what you are, we may tend towards this sense of toughness. Like, I need mental toughness. I need just to be on the straight and narrow. Rigidity is good. Regimentation is awesome. We need to be physically tough, yes. And mental toughness, yes. That operates on a continuum, though, okay? We need discipline, and we need some level of routine, and we need grit. That's passion plus persistence. We do need those things. Except, here's the deal. All of those things are supported by compassion, okay? It's not staunchness, you know, it's not rigidity, it's not my way or the highway sort of thinking. It's compassion. Grit is, in fact, okay, like I said, passion plus persistence. It's enthusiasm. It's energy, and positive energy, not negative energy, not the kind of energy that makes your body collapse, but the kind of energy that makes your bodies expand, okay? And discipline relies heavily on compassionate energy. Does that surprise you? It may for some of you, because you're so used to blasting yourselves when things go wrong, right? Many of you may be thinking that, especially when you've let yourself down, or that you've engaged in a behavior that you're not proud of, for example, that the best course of action is to put out shaming epithets, right? That use harsh language to re-motivate yourself and recalibrate you onto that path of potential. You're so stupid. I can't believe you did that. What is wrong with you? You really thought you could get that right? Like, step up. Now, you guys tell me, if you had a coach, okay, someone who was guiding you in that way, and they said those things to you, how ignited would you feel, okay? How enthusiastic, how excited would you be to take that next step? I'd be excited to punch my coach in the face. Okay? It's not true. Remember this. It is not true that critical self-feedback and feedback that is critical in a very shaming, blaming sort of way works as a long-term strategy, all right? And your confidence and your self-esteem suffer from that sort of feedback. We want our competence and our confidence Okay, they are very much related to grow as a result of doing so. Because it's that important, guys, and that consequential. Here's your second practice. It's self-compassion. All right, I want to talk to you a little bit about what that means. Now, when you offer yourself compassion, it doesn't mean you're letting yourself off the hook. It's not this airy-fairy, oh, it's going to be okay sort of a thing. No, what you're doing is reminding yourself of your humanity, for one, that you're not alone in this, that you're not the only one that makes mistakes, and you're not the only one that feels like this is hard. You're part of a larger community of individuals who falter, who are fallible, okay? And here's the cool thing. It's in this fallibility that makes us super unique humans. It makes us relatable. It makes us honest, okay? And it makes us more fun, all right? And here's a question for you. How many of you like your friends because they're perfect? I don't have a single perfect friend, and if I did, I would be like, you're boring. You're boring. Can you mess up sometimes so that I feel normal? Okay. How many of you would trust a coach to guide you who hasn't himself or herself struggled and experienced difficulty? Self-compassion looks like you becoming an advocate for yourself. Kori, you got this. You can do this. It's hard. You don't like how this feels, but you can figure it out. All right. Self-compassion, what it does is it helps you get through hard in a meaningful, identity-based, forward-moving way. Hard is having awareness, resilience, and determination. That's what self-compassion allows hard to be, as opposed to hard being an indicator of a lack of intelligence and that you should give up, okay? Here's what blasting ourselves and shaming and blaming ourselves does. It encourages discouragement. It encourages the threatening of one of our most basic psychological needs, which is our sense of competence, our sense of effectiveness in managing ourselves and our environments, okay? Here's a fun fact for you. Research out of Michigan State actually has revealed that speaking to ourselves in the third person, okay? Me not saying, I can do this, I've got this, I am strong and I'm powerful. Okay, no, it's not that. It's Kori, you've got this. Kori, you can do this. Kori, you're strong. You have these strengths. You've got these capacities. Put them into place, right? Doing it that way in the third person in stressful situations can actually help us manage our emotions more effectively, right? Why? Why is that? It's kind of interesting, isn't it? But I know you guys have all done it because it's just like you're talking to a friend. It's just like you're talking to someone that you care about. You're just doing it for yourself, okay? Now, say I planned eating a certain way when I went out to a restaurant with friends, and it didn't happen that way. I ended up eating more than I'd planned when I'd gone out, and so I ask myself something like this. Okay, Kori, what is one thing about this situation that you could choose to influence right now? One step that you could take. That's like I'm talking to a friend, right? I'm coaching them through this difficult circumstance. This works because it produces less emotion than if I were to talk to myself in first person, okay? Now, okay, what is one thing that I could do about the situation could galvanize that emotion a little more than when I have a bit of distance. When we create that little bit of distance, right? That has implications for self-control. We look at self-control as being something, typically, some of you you're going to resonate with this. We look at self-control as being something we have to exert a lot of energy to do, right? A lot of freaking effort to engage. Well, the word control itself almost conveys struggle, right? It's this battle. Is self-control And I think about willpower when I think of self-control. Is it about white knuckling our way through situations back to this place of sanity to where we don't feel like we're going to lose our minds? It actually isn't. And here's your third practice related to that. It's called the this is versus I am practice. Write that down. Okay. Let's see how I can say this in a way that's understandable. I'm practicing. If I were to ask you guys how you know when you're angry, or how you know when you're anxious or bored, would you have an answer? If I were a fly on the wall, okay, what would I see within your life? What would I see on the outside that would indicate you're experiencing one of those emotions? Okay, let's pretend I'm your partner, or you asked your partner. What would your partner say if you asked that person, how do I act when I'm anxious? How do you know I'm anxious? And then the third question I would ask you is, if I were to kind of zip myself up into your skin, what would I experience on the inside of your body, right? What do you experience on the inside of your body that lets you know that you're having an experience of one of these emotions? Those of us who are more effective or more successful at navigating difficult emotions have this level of awareness, right? So this is important. We can say, yeah, you know, when I'm anxious, you would see me getting up a lot when I'm working, and going back and forth between my office and the kitchen and the refrigerator and my desk. You'd see me twirling in my chair, or you'd see me like, shaking my foot or my leg a lot, okay? That would indicate that I'm feeling some level of anxiety. Now on the inside, my thoughts would be flying at me. It would feel like they're coming at me and I can't concentrate. I can't focus. It feels really scattered up here. And I have a hard time just targeting in on one thing. And my skin would feel tingly. Okay, I'm clearly telling you what happens when I'm anxious. Now, there's the next level of awareness here, though, and it's the ability to notice the experience itself and then name it, okay? There's a concept in psychology called name it to tame it. It's kind of self-explanatory, but when we can label the experience of an emotion, what we do is we facilitate its dissipation, okay? We can tame it so that the intensity decreases. Now, how we name it is important. We're coming back to this is versus I am here. If we say, I'm mad, okay, that doesn't have the same beneficial effect of labeling it like this. This is an experience of anger. Let's try that together, guys. On 3, we'll say, I'm mad. 1, 2, 3. I'm mad. We're going to pause here. What's happening for you? If you breathe, it'll start to dissipate too. On 3, we're going to say, this is an experience of anger. 1, 2, 3. This is an experience of anger. You guys notice the difference? The second way is like an observation. It's like I'm watching it, right? It's like I'm watching a movie and I'm describing what's happening. We have distance between us and the emotion. With the first way, it's like I am the anger itself. Now, it's in the distance that I create that makes managing it that much easier, all right? If I say I'm angry, it's like all of me is angry. Every cell of my body is angry. It's like I can't get away from the anger. There's no choice. We've talked about this. But if it's an experience of anger, maybe not all of me is angry. Maybe there's a part of me that's hopeful, and maybe there's a part of me that's happy, right? We have so many different parts of our personality. Just because I'm having an experience of anger, A, doesn't mean that all of me is angry, and B, it doesn't mean that it's going to last that long. Maybe it just had a blip on the radar of anger. So this is a strategy that helps you to practice becoming more of an observer, right? A scientist of your thoughts and a scientist of your emotions that you experience. And we can learn to watch them like a movie or like clouds passing across the sky, all right? That brings us to mastery practice number 4, okay? Becoming an observer of your mind. Now, the thoughts we experience are things, right? Just like the chairs you guys are sitting on and the nose on your face, okay? They are things. Thoughts are strings of words, or they're images, they're pictures, right? Memories are pictures in your mind. They're thoughts. Here's where we go wrong with them, though. We take the thought a step further and we attach a meaning to it, what I like to call a valence. And it's typically good or bad, negative or positive. It's black and white usually. It's categorical. Now we can practice watching the thoughts that run across our mind, just like I mentioned, just like they're clouds, right? Some of those clouds moving across the sky they're wispy and they move across really slowly, and others they're large and billowing, and others, we barely notice them at all right? Now we have thousands and thousands and thousands of thoughts a day that mostly we're not aware of, okay? But the ones that do snag us and then we're like caught in them, it's like they're like barbed wire, right? We can't get them out of our heads. We have an opportunity to practice approaching them differently and in a new way. It's like we're meeting someone for the first time, for example. We open the door and we're like, oh, hi. I've never met you before. How are you? What's your name? Here's mine. We don't know them. We've never seen them. Then they become interesting, right? We become curious. What would happen if you were to approach your thoughts that way? How might you change as a person if you approached your thoughts with that level of openness rather than judgment? Let's take a thought. Let's take a food thought, since many of you are working on, your physiques. I want cake. I love cake, by the way. You see how quick that thought was to come into my head? Now, when you notice that thought, do you laugh? I laughed. Why? I laughed because I have crafted the practice of being able to meet my thoughts with this level of humor and equanimity. They don't mean very much to me, okay? I look at thoughts like brain burps, and when we burp, what do? I hope you laugh, because burping is kind of funny, but then you say, excuse me, and you move on, and you've forgotten about it for pretty much forever, unless it was just this awesome ABC burp that you need to share with all your friends. But anyway, so many of us look at our thoughts as directives, right? I want cake, so I'm going to go find cake, and oh, there's no cake. Yeah, because you set up your environment in a way that was going to help you eat your best. Is there anything else I can eat that's sweet? You see how our thoughts, it's like a domino effect. If we approach them like they're important, okay? Or maybe they're not a directive for you. And this is what I'm getting at. They could not be a directive, but they can be an indicator of self-control. I'm going to talk tomorrow about what this means. Okay, I'm going to talk tomorrow about, to give you a hint about what I'm going to talk about. I'm going to talk about attribution. We could attribute the meaning of something, okay, to what we experience. And that all depends on our worldviews and how in tune we are to our patterns of thought and our tendencies. But say you have a thought and you take it as this indicator that you don't have any willpower. If you think, I want cake, well, why? Why does it have to mean that at all? Again, we come back to, what are all the other choices, right? Because each and every one of our thoughts, even the cake thought, I just used as an example of an opportunity to practice observation and just watching and being a scientist. What do scientists do? How fun could that be to watch our minds like a movie? Guys, this is what mindfulness is. It's not filling our minds with things. It's just practicing this non-judgmental awareness of what's up there. Okay, super interesting. Now, we don't need to do a single thing about what's up there. We can just watch. We can observe. Just take note. Huh, interesting. We can even talk back to our thoughts. Huh, I want cake. That's an interesting thought. 3 words. Well, it's no wonder I thought about cake like it was just my boyfriend's birthday. Okay, we can justify why we're having the thought, but it doesn't mean we need to move on it. Okay, guys. I'm up in terms of time, and I do want to thank you for taking your time out of your productive and busy schedules to be here for this camp. Thank you again for inviting me, and for, I can't see you, but I'm going to think positively and anticipate that you were listening very intently, because these practices really can make a massive difference in your life and help you to not lose your mind, and not just that, but really thrive with a healthy mind. Okay, guys, reach out, ask questions, email me if you like, Kori, Kori, @thedietdoc. Follow me on social media. You guys have a great time at the rest of your camp, and thank you again. Take care. Bye-bye.